Okay, I think we're going live.
We are now live.
Hey, everybody. Lisa, welcome back.
We're just sitting there staring. I can see it's got a 30-second delay, and we're both just sitting there going at the start here. And that's when everyone clicks the unlike button. So no, don't click the unlike button, people. Click the like. Smash the like button.
True. Oh, hang on. Now I'm hearing myself as well.
Yeah, so this is
We're getting better, Lisa. Well, I'm getting better.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. I just sit here and look pretty.
All we need you to do is do your thing and keep calling these charts correctly, because you've just been freaking amazing on a very long streak of calling it. And myself personally, I'm about to come back into the market, so I'm all ears today.
So when you have emotional issues, don't trade, because I had some emotional stuff on Saturday and I was in a big trade and I fucked it up.
Nobody's perfect.
I think I fucked up 5 trades on that day. But anyway, it's like, yeah. So if you're emotional,
don't trade.
Don't trade.
How are you feeling today? Are you emotional? No. Good. Because you're gonna tell me and everybody else some nice entry points, especially in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And obviously, I don't know whether you're going to go through 5,000 altcoin charts today as well. I'm sure you've had plenty of requests.
I think I haven't got 5,000 today. I think I've got 50,000. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's actually a lot to cover. We're going to have a look at this Tether FUD that's floating around. Obviously, some big news with the grayscales of the world. Biggest daily acquisition, 700 million. Pumped into their account in one day.
Like BTC's holding like technical levels at the moment. I keep hearing everyone on Twitter, it's got a head and shoulders, and I'm like, slap. Anyway, and then or that's pretty much what's been going. It's Lisa on the 1 hour, it's got a head and shoulders, and it's like, it doesn't, because it hasn't confirmed. So and there was one that was like so not a head and shoulders. It had 2 heads, 3 shoulders. I'm just like, yeah.
I've been watching some of the other traders when they were calling the head and shoulders pattern, and they basically gave both scenarios. And as a lot of these YouTubers do, they come back the next day and they edit the bit where they said, well, if this happens, as though that was their only call.
Yeah.
You don't get that on this show, people.
Well, you don't.
On that note, should we have a look at BTC to begin with, Lisa?
As it moves, we've got technical pivots, and we know once we hit those pivots, whether it's going up or down. So that's kind of how you got to do it. In regions like this, you've got to take it one step at a time. So let's bring up BTC and have a look. So this is, let's go to the hourly, because then we can have a look at the head and shoulders. So this is like the worst head and shoulders ever. So this apparently here is a massive head and shoulders. The reason it's not a head and shoulders is the neckline needs to be flat. So if we had this neckline going here throughout here, but we don't, it comes down to here. So it's a really kind of bad head and shoulders. And on this side, it's got 2 shoulders. So even if we did drop to here, we could technically have a smaller, maybe head and shoulders form here, and we could drop a little bit. I don't think we're going to break this diagonal support here. Like if we go back out on, let's go back on a daily chart, as my pictures will squish up. We can see kind of what we're sort of looking at on this chart here, and we've got this long-term support which goes right back to the beginning of December. So that comes up here. We've got this back in August, where we saw the really sort of tight chop that we saw around the sort of the 10k, 8 to 10k mark, is kind of what we have here, which to me means that we're going into this larger 4th wave correction. which means we are in an ABCD pattern, E pattern. So if we have a look at how that should move. So at the moment, we've got A, we've got B, we're coming down to the C, we'll go up for a D, and then we don't always get the D and the E. Everyone on Twitter always hears me say that. So this is kind of how I see this playing out. Whoops, wrong bit's taken off. So that's our diagonal support. We've got a clear pattern here. So we should have one more drop, I would think, to around the 33-ish. Market could wick through, that's okay. And then continue up. So, you know, it's looking really strong in this pattern. This, you know, C wave is almost complete. We almost have enough waves. We've probably got one or two waves lower, which should touch around this point. So, yeah, I see kind of no issues with this sort of holding in these regions. So if we have a look at this, the internals of this wave, and we've got a little bit of consolidation in this region. So we've got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and we don't cross over. So we can cross over on higher time frames by wicks, but if we go to the lower time frame, so the 4 hours on this chart, we've got a nice clean pattern. So I think, you know, this is looking really good. And, you know, we've almost completed this C wave. We'll start heading up again. So this D wave here is about 39-ish. So I expect, like we saw in this region where we've hit these, this is a cross support here. So we've hit this cross support, we've come up. So this cross support is 34. We've come up and we've done, you know, an almost $3,000 wick on that point. Didn't take very long to go up. The same happened here. So, you know, we had these very sharp moves where they've come down to these support regions and then quickly shot up again. So I think that's going to happen in this region here. I don't think it's going to drop below the 33,000 mark. Sean was saying earlier that 36K is a, you know, something on Twitter. I don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm not quite sure how to answer that, Lisa. I guess I'm watching too many other trading shows.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Ours
is.
is clearly the best, but yeah, I just that 36.2 level is what I was hearing a lot. So you think that diagonal support is a key for you here?
So the diagonal support is like, if you want to get really technical, like on OKX, it goes to really like particular numbers because it's an Asian exchange. So on OKX, it's going to go to 33333. So 33,333. So it wouldn't put it past that happening on OKX. So a lot of the time, these moves on OKX have moved to these really sort of odd numbers. So which means on Bitfinex and other exchanges, it'll hold around that level.
Okay. Don't sit on the sidelines is what I'm hearing from you today on Bitcoin then. Get on in there.
This is Ethereum. Now, Ethereum has held this pattern really, really strongly. So we have the long-term support is a little bit lower, but we've held higher. So the long-term support is 1,040-ish, 1,045. Our 200, this is a 2-hour chart. So our 200 MA is about 1,100. And our 100 MA, we're bouncing off that at the moment, and our diagonal support is about 1160. So, and we're sort of tightening in this range. So depending on what BTC does, if we do get that last wick down to that support region, then we could possibly hold here at this 200 MA or just a quick wick down, retest this lower support on Ethereum, and then we are off and racing. So everything on Ethereum is really neutral. All the indicators are really neutral at the moment. So if we go to the higher time frames, even more so. So on the higher time frame, I would definitely say that we're going to wick down to this region. But you can see everything's
Sorry, Lisa, which region?
The lower support, which is about 1,045.
Okay.
So, I would be laddering buys in this region.
Okay.
Because I think with Ethereum, we're going to attempt to break that all-time high. So I've got a 2,175 target on this. So if we go...
What sort of time period is that?
Time.
Sorry?
Time slap. Did you not see my post on Twitter about time?
Sorry, I asked.
Yes. So I cannot predict time. So that we've got the handle forming on the cup. So we've got this really beautiful deep cup here. We've got this handle here. We could continue to go sideways for a little bit more, but like when we zoom sort of out and into this, we've got a nice handle sort of formed in this region. So one more little drop and then off we go is what I'm seeing. So, if we don't get the drop, don't shoot me, but I'll be sort of buying those dips on Ethereum because this is a really nice looking chart. And if we have a look, this cup brings us up to this upper target, which is also a fib level. And, we've got a new all-time high and, an epic move on Ethereum. So at the moment, from where we are, that move it's about 130% on Ethereum. So it's a big move. And most people are in sort of a low level margin on Ethereum just due to the fact it doesn't move a great deal. So that's a nice sort of move after it does move.
Okay. Before we get into the alts charts, Lisa, I've had a lot of people asking me about the US dollar value and how movements in that particular currency affect
So as
Bitcoin.
Like on, I think it was the last show or the show before, like the relative strength. So BTC is paired to the US dollar. So it's paired to other dollars as well, and it kind of moves with the strength of those. But particularly the US dollar, when the US dollar moves up, BTC drops because that's how like strength works. So, and that's the reason I tell everyone with alts right now, because BTC has been rising, that you want to be in a USD pair or a stable coin pair, BUSD, USDC, that sort of stuff. So just due to strength. So the reason you don't want to be in a BTC pair in alts when BTC is rising is because the strength of BTC is rising, which causes the strength of the alt to drop. So, and this is the same when the DXY moves. So the strength of the DXY rises, which causes BTC to drop. So that's kind of the correlation and like how they work. So we can see that the DXY is in this falling wedge. We've hit the bottom. We've come out, we're on resistance right now. So if we count the waves, technically we could have one more wave down. So there could be a count here where we've got a really truncated last wave, but I'm going to be bold here and say that this may just poke through, and then it's going to drop down, and I think that's a good sign. So I think this pink line here that I've got on this chart will hold as a support. We've seen it along this region. It was a resistance, a previous resistance. It's now a support. It's not being tested. It needs to be tested again. That's how supports and resistances work. So we can see that it's definitely a region that the DXY has a lot of support and resistance areas on. So, and being as it hasn't been touched in this region on this fourth wave, it does need to come down one more time. So while it might come up a little bit, so we might break out a little bit, we're going to drop down and then we'll see a bounce. So Bitcoin is safe and secure at the moment, I think, with this sort of movement. you know, if a lot of the stuff that's happening in the USA continues to happen, then the dollar will weaken again. So we can see that on the RSI here. So if we blow this up, we can see that we've got this falling wedge. We've broken out a little bit, so we'll probably come down. We didn't, this last wave down didn't retest down. So again, that'll probably come down and retest the other side of this as support and then continue up. So that's kind of how that's going to move at the moment.
Okay.
You can see that we've got one more wave down on the DXY. We do have across, this is a weekly chart. So on the weekly chart here, whoops, I don't want to draw that. We do have a bullish cross happening. So, you know, that is going to sort of bring us up. So it hasn't happened yet, but, you know, it's getting there. It's just crossing at the moment. So it's just starting to pinch together. So, you know, this is going to show strength, which is going to do a little bit of like damage to BTC. They do have Tether. Tether will be printed. I'm sure these levels will be held, but the same sort of movements happened. We saw the same movements happening in the $8,000 to $10,000 range, where the DXY was moving and BTC was very choppy to trade. So similar stuff right now.
Okay. Lisa, just before we get into the altcoin charts, maybe it's a sort of a timely thing just to touch on this Tether FUD. We've obviously both been inundated with people asking about this anonymous crypto anonymous guy or whatever that's posted a full-on FUD article about Tether, claiming that a lot of the exchanges are basically taking Bitcoin, selling it, and giving you sign-up bonuses and whatever that are based on Tether. There's a hell of a lot of...
I don't know how they're based on Tether. A lot of those exchanges that are giving bonuses are not Tether-based exchanges. So... Correct. When you've got Prime, you've got Bybit, you've got those, they're not Tether-based exchanges. So they're Bitcoin-based exchanges. So that is then, you know, they're indelible bonuses. So they're not actually anything. They just give you, you can't withdraw it. You can trade with it, but that profit doesn't ever become yours. The profit you make from that trade then becomes yours. Yeah. But with an say, like I've got one for Prime at the moment where you get up to 50% bonus when you put in 3 BTC. So if you deposit 3 BTC, you get the indelible bonus of 1.5 BTC, and then you can trade with that. You can't withdraw it. So, you know, then that increases the amount of leverage that you can use on Prime. So, and you can therefore make more profits or more losses. It goes both ways. So, you know, and it doesn't come like the fees and everything come out of your money and the profits if you're making profits. So, and it's having that indelible bonus actually helps in supporting, like when you are going into a trade, that you're not over margining because you've got more money there to play with. So it's actually a safety net as such. So if you know how to margin. So yeah, so that's the thing with these Tether sort of FUD everywhere. Like, and as I've said on the show before, it's not illegal to market make. It's not illegal to take a loan. And it's not illegal to take a loan, buy Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin higher, repay that loan. It's not illegal. Yep. So, you know, when you're looking at that, every market has market makers. And particularly in crypto being a new market, it needs liquidity for anything to move, anything to sort of, you know, be viable long term. Like we see a lot of, there's 6,000 plus coins. So if you look at some of these charts, they're absolutely flatlined because they have zero liquidity. They have zero people buying. They have zero people like trading. So those coins will eventually sort of not become non-existent. They'll get delisted from exchanges. You know, that happens on a daily basis. So, you know, exchanges put out notes. This week we've delisted X, Y, and Z coin, and we've listed this one because, you know, there's community backing and, you know, there's people sort of that are willing to trade that. So that's the thing. So when we've got no liquidity on exchange, then we don't have that. You know, nobody's trading. So why would you want to go there? So you need market makers. You need that tether to come in, and you need those people to sort of buy Bitcoin or buy whatever coin they're buying at the time. You know, it then encourages other people to come in because they see the liquidity in the market. They see that they can get in and out of the trades. And, you know, and that's what happens. So it's like, it's not illegal. And if more people understood that, and that's the thing, when this FUD continues to go around, people aren't understanding that market making isn't illegal.
True. It'll be interesting to see how things evolve on that front. Obviously, we've had that OCC ruling about a week ago, which is going to enable US banks to effectively act as a node on public blockchains and issue their own stable coins. So
yeah, so
maybe,
and that's the thing. So banks obviously have liquidity, and they have it behind their own stable coin. So that's, you know, are they then going to get like charged by the SEC because they're like using their own stable coin?
Yeah.
Who knows? So yeah, so that's the thing. It's like everyone's like, oh my God, it's pumping. It's like, well, you know, we've got market makers that then decide that this is a good project. I'm going to buy this project. I'm going to sell this project at this level. And, you know, by the time, and then you hear people on Twitter going, oh, it's a scam because when I bought it was at this height. And it's like, well, you don't buy at that height. You buy at the supports. You don't buy at the resistances because they're always going to sell at those points. So
this Tether FUD has been around for as long as I can remember, or however long Tether's been around for. So yeah, let's move on.
Like Mt. Gox FUD started, and then it went to Tether FUD, and then it's like, well, you know, we don't have $1 trillion market without Tether.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't have $1 trillion market without people buying and selling and market making. It's like, we want the market to grow. We want to entice people to come into it. So it's like more Tether. And it's like, you know, whales take loans. They buy into the market. They sell. They repay those loans. They keep their profits. Eventually, they're going to have enough that they don't need to buy the loans. But then, you know, the market doesn't grow if they don't continue to do that. Yep. So, you know, and we want the market to grow.
Very good. Any before we get into the altcoins, I'm just looking at some of the who's joining us here at the moment. The LA Myth, which my favorite name.
It is an awesome name, isn't it? It's like,
yeah. Oh, there's lots of you here today. Welcome, Steve Money, Mike Shaw TV, the LA Myth, which Steve Burns, Yasmin Dye, Robert. Welcome along, people. Fire your questions at us, and we'll do our best to get to them for you. But Lisa, your thoughts on BTC dominance? It has been dropping a bit. What does that tell us?
Well, that tells us that we've got alt season. This is what I was telling everyone. So if we go back to it, this is dominant. So obviously we broke through this resistance. We're now retesting this resistance as support. So we are still bullish on the monthly here. Our RSI is still fairly neutral. We've got plenty of room to move. BTC can come down and retest this region down here, which is, let me bring that up. It is around the 61-ish mark. So I'm okay with it coming down and retesting there and then shooting up again. So, you know, I still see dominance sort of taking over. We are having obviously a little bit of an alt run at the moment, but that's kind of what happens. It's like, you know, BTC has a go, Ethereum has a go, moves into alts, and then rinse, repeat. And I've said this a million times, this is how this works. So we can see, obviously, you know, when this is happening, when this is dominance is rising, that's obviously correlates with Bitcoin rising. When the dominance is dropping, that's when we're getting alts that are running and Ethereum that's running. And when BTC was going up to our 40K mark, we got, you know, reached a peak here at about 74.5. So that's massive dominance. Obviously, everyone wanted to be in BTC because that's where all the money was at the time. The alts weren't moving. They were actually bleeding or going sideways. So, dominance is something that we need to watch. And when it's dropping, we want to be in all the alts we can possible. And I think I'm in a million. So
Okay, I guess it's that time of the show then to.
yeah.
I see you've had many requests to look at 1,000 altcoins. So we're going to go back to a coin of the week. I am going to ask you for your coin of the week or weeks at the end of the show. So have a think on that one.
Oh my goodness.
But let's hit it.
Litecoin, similar pattern to what's happening in Ethereum and BTC right now. We do have, if we are going to put on a long-term support on here, we could see a drop down to about 126 and then take off. So we are on this support. This doesn't mean that this support won't hold, but if BTC drops lower to that 33 mark, a lot of these alts will drop a little bit lower and then continue higher. So Litecoin, if we don't hold here, our next stop is 126. So if you are long, have some buys. So eGold is in a really nice pattern here. We've got nice consolidation here. So our next target is looking good. If we do get a drop, we've got cross support here. So this range is about 35-ish. So if you're looking to get into eGold,
I'm going to have to get into eGold because I've had a year of doing these shows with you, and you told me to buy this thing a very long time ago. It's just been painful.
I think it was under like it was 0.0003 or something when I told you to buy. So this is like when we're looking at how much alts can move. eGold is a prime example. So I've got a Reef chart right at the moment that I'll bring up, which is in a very similar sort of thing that eGold was doing. And is this the next eGold? I need the next eGold from you. The next eGold, I'm thinking. So this is Reef Finance, and we made 45% overnight. So on this trade, it's come down. It's hitting all the marks. It's on diagonal support. It should take off again soon. Potentially there's a 200 to 300% like move on this. We're like at the moment we're at 0.016. So this is penny stocks. When we're looking at this is the ones that can move like massively. So when we're looking at like eGold was split and then 1,000 times and became $20 or whatever. So that probably won't happen with Reef. It may do. They've done it with a couple. They've done it with AAVE. They did it with eGold. So where they increase. eGold is a pretty good sized project, though, isn't it, Lisa? What do we know about sort of any fundamentals on Reef? Or it's built on the DOT blockchain. So this is a project. So anything that DOT touches basically turns to gold at the moment. So that is what I've been looking at with a lot of these projects. We've got Moonbeam coming out. We've got PokerStarter. We've got Kylan. So there's a whole heap of stuff coming out on DOT to watch out for. I'm desperately trying to get into a lot of these seed rounds on these. So I've been emailing everyone like, please. So so Reef is another one, which is potentially I would buy and hold this because I think. Sorry, so you're going to have to back up there a minute. What seed rounds are you trying to get into? Kylan, Moonbeam, PokerStarter. PokerStarter is currently like the big move with DOT over the last few days. So Corby did a staking trial or have a staking trial on at the moment, where you stake DOT and you were like given a percentage of that was given to you in PokerStarter. Yeah. So the staking. So that was how the staking rewards were paid out. So PokerStarter is another one that's going to be huge. So that PokerStarter and what was the other one? Moonbeam. So for the average of the other people watching this, but just quickly want to explain a seed round and how who can get involved and who can't. Well, with seed rounds, you have to be sort of an influencer, a whale. Yeah, just put in a lot of money. So basically, you help the project get off the ground. It's kind of like the ICO days. You know, they don't do them as ICOs as such anymore. But they do still do seed rounds, and then they do drops and that sort of stuff. So
Right.
It works a little bit differently to how that is all working. So, you know, I've had a few that I've been sharing on Twitter lately. So we had Jules, which is, you know, kind of that is going to, you know, go head to head with Uni. So, you know, that's another one that's a really good project. So yeah, so Reef,
Yeah, I've seen you tweeting about that a lot lately. Do you just want to, before we move on to the next chart, maybe just tell us a bit about that?
yeah, so that's basically it works like Uniswap. So but it's on the BNB chain. So it's a Binance project. Yeah, so it's actually, you know, Binance is sort of coming into the market like and looking at these sort of big projects like Uni and that sort of stuff, and how, you know, the buys and sales work on that, and then doing their own stuff. So,
Okay.
you know, putting them on the Binance chain. So BNB is actually like going to really explode because of a lot of the stuff that's coming onto that chain. So it's looking really strong as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll run through. So eGold, this is this is XRP. So XRP, I am still in this. I said if it holds, as long as it holds this lower support, I'm okay. Like I've been buying and selling levels. I've rebought here. You know, I don't think it's going to break this lower support. We're kind of lying on the MACD, but you know, XRP does it. So it does that all the time, and it has these large sideways movements. You know, the RSI is looking, you know, really good. It looks like it's going to get a bounce in, you know, the near future. So, you know, as long as we continue to hold this, a wick down a little bit lower is okay, you know, but it's holding all the right areas. I have no issues with it. You know, everyone's sort of concerned. It looks to almost have completed this run, and we should take off again soon. This is ADA Cardano. So we had this bull flag and we've taken off. I tweeted this out about a day or so ago, and it's moving nicely. We're in our fifth wave on this. We should get about 56 on this. So we've still got 66 on this. So we've still got a fair way to go. So it's looking, we've got lots and lots of volume coming in, and, you know, MACD, and we're on a daily here. So we've had a nice cooling down. So we should have another wave up here before we do have another drop. So that's still looking, we'll have a little bit of a correction to cool down the RSI. It's a little bit hot.
Right, Lisa, I'm just going to stop you for 1 second because I keep getting told off by other people for not telling the audience to smash the likes. If you haven't liked it so far, please do. It does help us. We do this for free for you. So hit the like button.
It helps with the YouTube algorithm. So, you know, it helps, it makes it show up more. It's like, so keep smashing the likes.
There you go. We're proper YouTube traders now. We only do it once in the show, not 50,000 times like the others. So we'll get back to it now.
That's it. So NEO has slowed down a little bit. We do have some fundamental stuff happening. We do have an upgrade coming up. So I think once that upgrade sort of starts making waves, then NEO will start making waves again. We should stay consolidated in this region for a little bit longer. On this still. Link finally hit my target. All right, so as you know, if you've watched HardForking for a long time, I had a $22 target.
You know that I still don't own any.
Oh my God, of course you don't.
Oh, that's gonna have to change, isn't it? Well, tell me if it should.
Yeah. So it should, because if we go to the 3 days, so we've got this chart here, and potentially by March. Now, I've got a friend of mine, Thea. She's always on Twitter and everywhere. So she does Garn theory. Now, with Garn theory, you can get a time sort of frame, like, you know, a pretty accurate time frame as to when stuff's moving. Now, she says that we are going to be at 63 by March, which is massive. So that's 3 times where we are now. So on Chainlink. So, you know, this potentially is a massive third wave here. So, you know, we're off we go on Chainlink.
I've seen you chatting with her. You should get her on for a guest appearance with us.
I have told her. She's in South Africa though. So
got another time zone for me to try and figure out.
Yeah. That's where my friend Crypto Kruger is as well. So he's there. So hi, Brad, if you're watching. Yeah, so this is Tomo Chain. So we've hit one of our targets, 60% profit. We are going to consolidate here. We've not come back and retouched this support. So we'll come across maybe a little bit sideways. Around about $1.25, you will pick up some good coins for our next move up. So it's looking really good. So this is Sushi.
Oh God, it's made a comeback.
Yeah, so I was refusing to chart this, and then I saw that Bitfinex was listing, and it had done my famous alt curl, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start trading this. So we came up, we hit this mark, we came back down. I had a buy zone, it dropped a little bit lower, but that's okay. And then we've done 110%. We have this beautiful cup forming here. I do expect that we're going to make one more high here to this $8.90 sort of range. We could even break through and attempt to make a 10. We do have plenty of room up here to move. And then we're going to come back down and make that handle. So if we do come up, make the 10 on, so we've got this region here, we'll probably consolidate, come up, make the 10, we're going to come down and smack down on that and then continue up. So that's our handle that we're going to make here. We will probably have, doesn't want to connect because, wait 2 seconds, I'll move that out of the indicators. So we've got a really, really, really deep cup here. So potentially Sushi has, if we can break that high. So if we're looking at how a cup and handle works, so with our cup, our handle is normally about 50%. And then we take that rise and we put that up here. So potentially Sushi here. So if we put a horizontal line, we've potentially got $20 on Sushi coming up if this pattern plays out. So, you know, from this point here in, if we are to take a long and go from here, we've got a 200% move. So, you know, to me, like with all of these charts that are showing sort of these patterns, it means Bitcoin's definitely got, you know, I've got a long-term target, long-term, 3 to 4 months in crypto on Bitcoin at around 66,000, provided we hold around the 30,000 mark, and that technical pivot. So, and, you know, all of these charts are looking really, really strong. I don't see any reason why we won't. This is Ocean. We've been trading on Twitter this week. It's coming up to the channel. It's rejecting a little bit on this channel. So as soon as we can break out of this channel, this is going to like just blast off. So we can see a similar pattern. I'll go to NIA if I can find it. So many charts. So
a lot of people talking about near at the moment.
Yeah. So this, hang on, I can't find it. Where is my near chart? I'm just going to open a new one.
So close, but yeah, it's
where it is.
Okay, here we go. No, it's down for 4th.
So if we go to near, we can see we've got the same channel that we've got on Ocean, and we've taken off out of that channel. So this is kind of what Ocean has done right now. So we've got, if we zoom out and flatten this channel down, you know, potentially we've got one more drop in this channel like we saw on NIA. So we saw this one drop, and then we've taken off out of the channel. So if we go, where are we? Ocean. So that's potentially what's going to happen here. So we've got one more drop in this channel. So around sort of 49.50-ish, and then we're going to take off. So, and it's following exactly the same pattern as NIA. So, you know, it's got 125% move on this, like just on this small, like sort of, you know, channel we've got in this range. Theta has potentially a really nice move here. We've come down at the present time. We are retesting this support. So if we could come down and retest this channel, that's now out of the realm of possibility. So that's around $1.75. And then we're going to take off to $5 on Theta. So that's a longer term target, 2 to 3 months. If you wanted to buy Theta at about $1.75, I think you'll, with a stop loss, of course, you'll get around the $5 mark. KMD is consolidating very strongly. This is a new pattern, obviously, so they don't always move the same. So this could move sort of horizontally for a little while as well, like we've seen in NIA and in Ocean. So similar patterns when they sort of, you know, start sort of consolidating and moving, and then they break out. So a good time to buy because it's a longer term hold, 2 to 3 months again. Uni has this same pattern that we've just saw on Sushi and what Elrond had before it became eGold, the same sort of alt curve that we always look for. So it's curved up, it's come beautifully back down, touched the curve, and taken off. So, you know, we'll get a little
I'd like to think you became a Uniswap expert by joining us on this channel, Lisa.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's going to see consolidation in this region before taking off. Kai, so Cartier chain. So this is, I showed you last week the MPXS chart that absolutely mooned. So this has, like, this is following pattern exactly to that chart. So we've broken out, we've come down, we're retesting this as support at the moment. We're finding support, it's holding really nicely. Our MACD on the 12 hour is turned up. So, you know, we're going to continue up here. We've got a massive target because it is in the same pattern as the MPXS, 500% target on Cartier chain. So
a mere 500%. I like that.
500%. So these are like really low, like penny cryptos. So, you know, you always hit penny stocks, and, you know, a lot of the time, you know, if you watch the movie The Big Short, they deal with a lot of penny stocks while they were dealing with, you know, the mortgages, subprime mortgages and that sort of stuff. But they all started in penny stocks. So the penny stocks are where you make the money, the biggest dollars. And we saw that.
Also the most risky. We got to throw that out there.
Yeah, they are, like, and I do put that on Twitter, that they are high risk charts because they are really new patterns, but they are easy to move. If you're a whale, these charts are super easy to move, and when they move, they really move. So we saw IOST over the weekend made 555%. So this is the same pattern as IOST. It's the same pattern that MPXS had. So yeah, so if you want to sort of just buy, hold, wait, put a sell order up there, it should sell. So eventually it could take.
So who'd you say IOS? You mean IOST?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had an epic call on that a few months back. That's just
so that was an August chart. So that just hit 555% target. So when we think of that, so August, September, October, November, December, January, 6 months.
I thought I did well selling that at a 50% profit.
Yeah, so that's the
Damn
thing.
it.
With these little penny stocks, if you want to hold these charts, you can trade the waves if you want to trade the waves, or you can not.
I don't know that IOST is. I wouldn't necessarily call that one a penny stock. I think that's actually quite a big project. It's a protocol.
I'm not saying they're not big projects, but like, yeah.
Are you still holding that one?
No, I sold.
Damn. Getting back in, or is we should probably bring that chart up. Have you got that one?
Yeah. That's my son ringing. I don't know what's up. So yeah, this is reserve rights. We are in the channel and we've been consolidating under this channel. We may break out of this channel and continue up. We've got strong support of the MAs at this range. So I think this is actually going to take off very, very soon. We've neutralized on the RSI and on the MACD. So I think a big move is coming for this one. I don't have a lot of targets. I will add some targets, but in this range here, we've got about an 80% move, which is quite good for a short-term move on this chart on RSR. So Ontology, is actually one of my Twitter calls at the moment, and this is moving really strongly. So this is a 30-minute chart. We can see that it's holding diagonal support. It's bouncing in all the right places. We've got diagonal supports, we've got cross supports, and it's holding. We're fighting with this resistance at the moment. So we've got this strong resistance here, and we'll probably fill this out for a little bit more. We'll probably come up one more time, one down before we break out higher. And that sort of completes that pattern. We are starting to turn up on the RSI and on the MACD. When we go to the higher time frames, it looks even better. So we are at this resistance region and, just about to break out. So that's going to be huge when it does as well. So we've got a potential 150% profits. It is quite a low sort of price one as well still, where we could be moving into the couple of dollar mark over the next sort of 6 months if you wanted to hold that. So this is NIA, I covered that before. Loom has had a nice, we are just starting to break out now. So Loom's had a nice correction, and we are starting to attempt to break out of this fourth wave. And when Loom runs, it really runs. So it's got some big moves happening. So I think we are going to get about 11 to 12 cents on this one. And yeah, so these are all low priced alts and that are really moving strongly right now. So ZIL, we have broken out and we are retesting at the moment. So it looks better on Binance than it does on Huobi, but similar sort of price structures, just the pattern's a little bit irregular on Huobi. But yeah, so we've got resistance coming up at this point here, which is about the 0.95 mark. So again, it's one of those low priced alts as well. So we've got the MACD curling up. RSI is showing that we have almost completed these waves here. So, and about to head up. This is a new one, Phantom, that I am just going to add now because this is the weekly and this has just crossed over on the weekly on the MACD, and it's going to have a big move in this range. I think we will get a little bit of sideways in this range, and then we're going to get a move up to this upper target here. So we've got about 115% on just this move alone, but I think it will continue. So once we start going. So you can see that they're all fairly new patterns, and they're all sort of just, they're all this similar patterns to what we've seen on Uni, on what we've seen on Sushi, and all of those ones that are running at the moment. So Seller, another one that's this one's curling up, and it's been around a lot longer. So it dropped in at a lot higher price. Obviously, entered in 2019 into the bear market. So anything that sort of entered in that period has these huge, big like wicks, red wicks, and at the moment they are starting to sort of catch up. So, from where we are here, like if we were to catch the top of that wick, which has been happening on a lot of these charts, we've got a 400 to 500% move. So, that's in line with the IOST, and so seller potentially could have a 400% move. I do see a very easy, once it starts moving, a 200%, 235% move on that one.
Okay, never heard of that one. I will have a closer look.
So Bitcoin Cash is also doing really, really well. And a lot of because of the chain split, it's not margin traded on as many exchanges at the moment. So it's been, once they start margin trading, they start behaving sort of a little bit more irregular. So Bitcoin Cash is still actually doing okay.
I'm actually just quickly on that one, Lisa. I've been chatting to a guy called Kim.com, who many of the viewers will be familiar with. He's actually based here in New Zealand, so I'm hopefully going to do a video, but meet up with him in person. He's actually using Bitcoin Cash for the launch of his project. This is a very wealthy individual with a pretty successful track record.
I'm just reading. There's like so many coins, not enough cash. That is so true.
What's that?
LA Methwich has just said so many altcoins, not enough cash.
Yeah, very true.
It'd be nice if we all had unlimited cash.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute with your 1,000 to a million post that I'm dying to hear about.
This is Adam. So we've just recently broke this high here, so we should continue up to finish this last wave. So we've got a just under $12 mark on this chart. OMG is actually OMG going at the moment. Amazing. So we just hit our next target on OMG finally. So it's got a really annoying irregular pattern right here, but it's held in all the right regions. So we've got a 1, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and we're coming up for this fifth wave. So we've been trading this for the last couple of weeks. So from this point down here when we started trading up until now, we've got 100%. Woo!
4 years for me, and there's too much emotion attached to that one. So
no emotion.
Exactly. Don't trade when you're emotional, people.
That's it. So this is Travala, which is AVA on the ticker.
My God, look at that.
So 280% so far. We hit that. Now, there's rumors, some very big rumors, that AVA is just about to do a major deal. Like, they've already done a deal with Expedia. They've already got these amazing partners. But there's a rumor that the wallet or some sort of infrastructure is going to be integrated within the Expedia platform, which is massive for AVA. So I don't know if that's exactly what's happening. It's just little bits and pieces that I'm sort of putting together from a lot of people in the know that are sort of telling me.
Is that an Aussie? Is that an Australian crowd behind that project?
Yeah. So this is Binance backed as well.
Right.
The team is in Perth. So
right.
Yeah. Right. So this is a massive project, and especially for the travel industry, it has just made so much money this year, like in what they're doing, even in COVID.
It's pretty good with no one traveling.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can still, they've got sort of inroads to accommodation, to, like booking, obviously, to gift cards, to, you can stake your AVA and you get 24% APY. And if you do have that AVA there, you do get 10% discount as well on all your bookings. So, you know, there's so many incentives that go with owning AVA, and yeah, this is going to become, you know, very fast one of my stages.
I chatted to them about 18 months ago. I might reach out to them again and see if I can get them on for an interview for a review. It was a project I liked.
Once this news comes out, and I hear it's going to be this week or early next, you know, we've got another 200% move coming up. So, you know, we've had a 280% move so far, but it's just going to continue. And I think this project's just going to continue to grow. Kusama, this is another dot project. So this one has had some epic moves, and we've had a high on this at 124. We are currently sitting at 114. And, you know, I've got massive big targets. My next target here is $200. Yeah, so Kusama, I think as long as, you know, everything keeps going super well for DOT, and all the, you know, they're hitting all the roadmap targets and everything. So Kusama is the testnet chain, I believe, for DOT. So yeah, so it's moving. From what I hear, it's going to be a standalone one as well. So they're going to leave it.
You've been talking about Kusama for quite a while.
I have, since back down here. So yeah, way back down here. So it's now way up here. So this is like when we're looking, we're sort of, you know, we're at the, I was talking about this at sort of like maybe the $10, $20 mark. And we're now at the, you know, the $100 mark. So when we think about that, that's where Link is at the moment. So it's kind of at the, you know, $22, $23 mark. This is what can happen. So, you know, at this point here, which is August last year, we were at the, you know, the $20-ish, the $30 mark around on here. So which is where Link is. Flash forward 6 months later, we're at $100. So, you know, that's some nice, it's 5 times in that range. So that's potentially what we're going to see on a lot of these coins coming up. So, you know, when we look at the epic rise, I've been going on about DOT since the very beginning. So since before, like, they split it down 100 times. So DOT was like, when I first bought it was $160 a token. And then they split it down, it became $1.60, then it took off. So this is one that I've had on Twitter since way back in July, since like it's kind of like listed on a lot of these exchanges. On Binance, it listed a little bit later. So it was on Huobi and OKX for a lot longer. So that's where, so if we have a look, we've got longer charts here. So we can see like this drop in the EMAs here is because if we zoom out, we can see that this is where the chain split happened. So, you know, we had DOT here at 100, it dropped in at 255, dropped down to about 116. So if you were lucky enough to buy DOT, that would make it $1.16 that you were, once they split down. I think I bought it around 160-ish, about here. And then, you know, been buying and selling. So this is where they split down the tokens and then divided it down, and it became a low value token. So that happened sort of back in August. That's when it started going crazy with people wanting to know what DOT was. And obviously we've seen these massive moves for this third wave over the last week. So DOT hit just under $20. So if you were, you know, trading from way back here, which I've been telling everyone the whole time, so you should have been.
You have?
Yeah, it's been epic. So potentially in this range, we've got one more wave up, and then we're going to hit that resistance, and we're going to come back down. So, you know, that's kind of in line with, you know, BTC's got another wave up in this region, and then we'll see another retrace. So it's a choppy region that we're trading at the moment. Where
what just that pullback there to resistance, what
number are we looking at there?
Well, potentially, I don't know, because it is super bullish, so it may not go back. So we've got about a $16 mark. We've been pulling back to about 17, so it may hold 17, just due to the bullishness of this chart. So yeah.
Okay.
Not too late on dot.
Yeah. So hang on, we've got. What do you think about Tron? I don't. I just had a question. I'll have a look at Tron in a sec. I don't have a chart up on that one. This is Reef I showed you before. So obviously 45%. We can see that we are coming up here again. This is actually the only BTC chart that I've been trading, because Bluezell is actually a really strong chart when BTC moves sideways. So when we're in sideways regions, that's the time to pull out the BTC charts, the BTC pairs. So this one, we've done 40% profits today. It's taken a little while. So when I say little while, 10 days. Oh yeah, that's a lifetime for 40% profits. It's them overnight in Reef. Yeah, so this is should continue as BTC goes. We should get this second target, which is about 80% profit. So I think let's have a look. I know we've got 100% on this, so our next target's at 100%. So it should continue. This is Sean's favorite. So we had this up, and I said that we were coming up, we were going to hit this target. We did. We've rejected here. So when we start rejecting on the RSI within this range, that's when you need to sell back down. So that's what's happened in here. So we've hit the top of this white line resistance on the RSI, which is my first target in this range. We've come back down. We're recalibrating at the moment. So we're under $1. You want to buy just as it's breaking out in this range on this pink line, and then it continues up. So that's the best region I think it is to buy Ampleforth. And, you know, we're just about to break this resistance here. We should come up and break this resistance here and then continue.
Is this one as appealing to you to trade at the moment, given that we really are seeing these alts run? I mean, this one is a completely different
I don't have a lot of money on KuCoin, so this is one of the ones that I do trade on KuCoin. So most of the alts I'm trading on Bitfinex or on Binance. So they're kind of my go-to exchanges for alts at the moment. They have pretty much everything. I know a lot of the USA investors that are on Twitter are telling me, I can't buy Ocean, I can't buy Reef. And it's like, I'm sorry.
I think they're moving some stable coins onto Uniswap shortly as well. So that for the degens out there, that's how we'll be trading Ampleforth.
So I've just had a request in there. I'll have a quick look at Tron, and that will be my last. Oh, and I'll have a look at Wi-Fi as well. TRX, hang on.
I think we have a lot of people that from Hex that follow this channel after we had Richard Hart on. Unfortunately, because I do hold some of it, I think your price prediction was correct on that. It had a pullback. So if you've got time, I might have a quick look at that as well.
So this is TRX. We're probably going to get one more pullback in this region. We will fill out this region because it's how TRX moves. So we'll probably fill out this region before taking up. We are going to hit that channel resistance. We will probably come down before we attempt to break up. Now, this hasn't been really strong of late because there's been lots of FUD in the market about TRX, about Justin Sun doing stuff. It's like it's all FUD. So, you know, we had some big fund, really FUD TRX at this point. We came down, it held the channel. So it's holding on all the right places. I don't see any issue with it. You know, it is like OMG, one of the coins that does support sort of the fees, like for gas and all of that, you know, when you're moving it through. So you've got ERC, you've got different forms of Tether. So one of them is Tron backed, one of them is OMG backed, and one of them's, you know, ERC20 backed coin. So yeah, so this is Tron. I think a little bit more consolidation to come, and then we'll take off. And I'll quickly look at Wi-Fi because we were breaking out on that chart. So this is Wi-Fi. We can see we're going into this fifth wave. We should get a 47,500 to 600-ish mark, which is a new all-time high on this chart. And then we'll come down and correct. We may continue higher at that point. So it's looking really, really strong. So we're going to consolidate in this region for a little bit, and then we'll take off again. YFII, we've got that curl happening like I said would happen. So we're starting to curl up on this chart. It is looking really good. And I think once YFI hits its targets, some money will start moving into YFII. So this is on OKX, and I'm not sure if it's on what exchanges it's on at the moment, but yeah, it's looking really strong. So yeah, so that's the million alts, and Sean's going to have fun time stamping that all.
Oh my goodness. Thanks for that. Hey, just a quick mention. I'm obviously in New Zealand at the moment, so if there are any viewers in New Zealand, I'd love to hear from you. Jump on Twitter and send me a direct message. I'm trying to meet up with as many people when I'm here. But Lisa, I just have to bring this up because one of the very first things I saw when I got here was a headline in the local press saying, and this was a warning from like a financial authority here, the UK. Has done a similar thing in the last 24 hours, putting this warning out that Bitcoin is a bubble. But I just want to point out, there's obviously not financial advice, but I'm sorry, it's not a bubble.
Is Tesla?
Definition. Sorry, go on.
Is Tesla a bubble? Because Tesla has like this epic chart that just keeps going up and up and up and up. So is Tesla a bubble? It's like a lot of the US stock charts have just gone up and up and up this year, and it's like, are they all bubbles? Is the bubble?
Well, see, here's where Bitcoin's a bit different to all these scenarios. So, for me, it frustrates the hell out of me seeing headlines like this. For me, a bubble by its definition is where the price of something is just gone way beyond the intrinsic value of the asset. Yeah. Now, here we are, we've had these constant all-times high in Bitcoin. What the hell is the price of Bitcoin? We just don't know. So to call Bitcoin a bubble, it doesn't. No, sorry, it's not.
It's like YFI that's moving and is almost 40-something thousand, the same as like Bitcoin. So there's limited, availability. So it's supply and demand. Yep. So when the supply dwindles, and there's a lot of these miners are in China and they're hodling and they're not selling. You see when it comes into the market, we do have that like 25% mark drop. That was like Chinese and Asian like miners selling down. Yep. So so supply and demand says that this continues to grow. So it's got a finite amount that you can sort of have. So it continues to grow in my eyes. It's like as more people sort of know about Bitcoin and come into the market, and every second person I speak to when they find out that I do cryptocurrency wants to know how to buy it. So it's like, how do I buy that? Even if I just buy like $100, $200, it's like I want some Bitcoin because then I'm cool. So yeah.
Well, we're about to have a big wave of retail banks enabling people to buy, so it's going to be a very seamless process. I mean, it still is difficult. I've done some hand holding in the last few days with some people, and it does amaze me. The bank called up and people's credit cards were getting cancelled, and for fraud alarms going off left, right, and centre. So those on ramps still are far from perfect. That is going to change rapidly.
But if you're buying over, like in Australia, it's $10,000, and that triggers all the alarms. So if I was to move,
I had somebody trigger. It was a $1,000 purchase of Bitcoin on a major exchange, and the bank was straight on the phone.
Wow!
Credit card frozen. It was, so that sort of stuff's still going on. But these retail banks are coming into the game now, especially in the US. So I think that huge wave of retail investment is still yet to happen. Really, I think we're seeing a lot of high net worth individuals. I think that's behind. If you look at a Grayscale, there's obviously institutional purchases happening there. 700 million in one day. came into grayscale. That's huge.
And that's why those are holding. So it's like, when people are saying we're going to drop below 30, I really don't see that happening. I think, that 30 is a really solid range. And we're going to hold there. And I think the most that we're going to drop is maybe 33,000 mark if we do get that drop. So yeah, this is a consolidation range, and we're just going to keep moving a little bit sideways.
Where would you panic, Lisa? If would it be breaking 30? Might set in a bit of a rethink.
I think I'd be like, hang on a sec. Maybe my charting's not as good. So there's something wrong here. So
yeah, well, your charting's been bang on. It's been absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so if it was just a wick down, I'd be like, maybe, but maybe it was just a bigger sell. But I think that's a really solid range. It's doing a similar pattern to what we saw in that $8,000 to $10,000 range. If you go back through my August charts, this is where we were back in August. So if we think about how far we've come in the market since August. So with the percentages that we've made on these altcoins and all of that since that time. So a lot of these altcoins have made, between 200 and 500% on most of them. So, that's kind of what we're looking for in the next little run. So this is a consolidation period, and then, Bitcoin will head to 66,000. Altcoins will probably double again and continue on. So yeah.
So just closing out that bubble chat. Steve Burns, was it Steve Burns, is saying that fiat is a bubble, and that's my exact point.
Well, fiat, what is backing? It's not gold backed anymore, so there's no backing on anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, and the whole US economy is a bubble if you want to look at it like that, because this year the printer's been printing just checks for people because of the COVID, because so many people are out of work, so many people are really hurting in the USA. Yep. So that's just been printing and printing, and the economy there looks like massively amazing because they keep printing money and it keeps going up. So yeah,
well, I think we're about to see more of this as well, aren't we, Lisa? We've got the new crowd coming in on Wednesday, and the stimulus package off the back of that. That's a bubble. Bitcoin's not a bubble.
Bitcoin's not a bubble.
No, it's not. The LA Mythwitch says she loves bubbles.
I love bubbles.
Chris Campanile, will we see 20K again, Lisa?
No. I've got a chart that I've put up when Bitcoin hit 30K and it took off, and there was that massive big wick. And I said, what if that was the last time you would ever see 30K, below 30K? Yep. So I don't think we're dropping below 30K.
Okay. Big call. I like it. Come on, people. We need 8 more likes to go over 100. If you haven't hit the like button, do that for us now. Smash the likes. Don't make us become cheesy YouTubers calling that out every 30 seconds. We'll attempt to do it once or twice in the show.
Was that Janet? We did ADA and both link earlier in the show. So if you want to go back, Ethereum was done top of the show as well. So I'm just looking at some of the comments. So yeah, once we get off, you can watch back. Sean's going to go through and timestamp it all up.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, so we'll be spending hours doing that. So if you have just joined now and you want to jump in and see your chart, maybe come back in an hour or two and I will have timestamped the video for you all. Painstaking process.
Oh, look at that. We've got over 100 likes.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, people. Very good of you. 20 likes all of a sudden. Well, one just disappeared. How does that happen?
What? No,
unlike. Oh, no, it went back up. There we go. Very good. So any other questions from you people before we
before we go, hang on.
Oh, BSV. Yeah, Lisa, what are you doing?
I hate BSV at the moment.
Do you? Well, it's not right. It's down again this week. Your brother's back in the news, I see.
Yeah, apparently he's been moving some coins. So, you know, flexing. He's like, it's like, look at me. Look at me. I can move some coins.
He has been doing some flexing and saying there's plenty to come. So yes, he was very quiet for a while.
If he does flex, that might, you know, maybe that might change my theory on 30K if he starts flexing some heavy coins. So yeah, we'll hold 30K as long as Craig doesn't flex all those Tulip Trust coins. That's my get out of jail free card. Am I allowed to have that? So we've got
he's also off. He's off to court with Holdable Naught, who was on a show with me the other day, actually, BTC maximalist. So that's actually going to the High Court in the UK for slander. Court in the UK has ruled that this Holdable Naught, who's a very well-known guy in the BTC space, is going to have to front up to court with your brother for defamation charges over saying he was
that they do say, and it's like not just because he is my brother, he's really horrible. Like, it's not nice. It's like you wouldn't say that stuff to somebody in the street. You wouldn't walk up and say it to anyone. It's like, you know, I live by the rule. If you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, except for when you're in an argument with somebody and then it all comes out. And try not to be saying it, then apologize later.
There might be someone watching at the moment, Lisa, that's like, really? What? Yeah. So, final questions before we go. Have you got to see any there, Lisa, you want to address?
I'll be mean to anyone.
Paolo has the biggest crush on Lisa.
Who does?
Paolo.
So we are above this if we don't take into the account the wick, which I don't on BSV a lot of the time. We are starting to flatten out on a lot of our indicators, which means we're going to get a fairly big move. I would say we're going to retest this region. So if we can hold this region here, we've got a lot of people do margin trade. The shorts, so how BSV is working at the moment, so there's so many shorters at the moment in BSV, and people keep shorting it and keep shorting it and keep shorting it. And when shorts release into the market, they sell long. So at this point here, we had 90% shorts on BSV, and they were long-term shorts. So that's the easiest time for a whale to come in and go, whoa, I'm just going to kill this market. So every single shorter got liquidated, I would say, in this region. If you have a look at the Bitfinex charts, they show all the little dots where all the bear tiers are. So it just boomed, and we had a massive rise at that point. We did about, it was lower. So we did 150% in this region. You know, we've got a nice move coming up here. So we should definitely see a 50% move. We could see a test to this move up here, just, you know, as we continue. So I do have some big targets on BSV, you know, especially if some of the stuff starts getting proven with Craig. You know, once that starts to sort of roll out and he starts winning court cases and that sort of stuff starts happening, I think BSV is really going to move, especially if people keep shorting. So it's like, keep shorting at people because it just gives me money. It's fine.
It's been a long hold for a lot of BSVs, that's for sure.
Yeah, there was when it dropped in this region, there was a lot of salty BSVers, and I'm sorry, guys, I did block a lot of you because there was some not nice comments going around. So, yeah, and I do get it. It moves in a really irregular fashion. This chart's really annoying to trade sometimes. So a lot of the times I just hold it and I sell it at the bigger like points where it sort of hits the top. You know, it's not worth trading these little choppy moves. It's not worth trading this range here. When it does move up, I will start trading it again. At the moment, I'm just sort of in a position, hodling it and, you know, waiting for it to move, waiting for it to do something. It's like, yeah.
Somebody asked us the trading platforms we use. Lisa, you want to tackle that one?
Bitfinex, Prime, KuCoin, Hotbit, Bybit. The list will go on. I'm trying to think what other ones. There's probably, I've got, if we look at my 2FA, I think I've got 20 2FA codes or more. So
Oh God.
this is all of them. So it's on a separate phone. This phone's not connected to anyone, so don't even think you can hack it. So
Right. We should hopefully have some decent offers if you are an experienced trader for some of these platforms for you guys in the next week or two. We're talking to some platforms at the moment, so stay tuned for that. Actually, I'll put a link below to Lisa's Prime XBT. If you're a seasoned trader, there's a pretty good offer there. I'll put a link below for that.
Yeah, the indelible bonus. So the 50%. So up to 3 BTC. So if you deposit 3 BTC, which is a lot of BTC now, you get up to 50% bonus, or you get 50% bonus. It's an indelible bonus. You can trade with it. You can't withdraw it. So
yeah.
Someone
else has asked what sort of leverage you use when you trade, Lisa.
Most of the time on all my alts, I am in spot. On the only thing that I am ever in leverage in is I have a low level leverage trade on BTC and on Ethereum. So I have a 3 times trade. When I do put charts up, when I'm targeting on 15-minute charts, when I put charts up on Twitter and it says that the EMA has just crossed and where I'm targeting an MA, I'm normally in a sort of a 10 to 20 times trade on that, and that will be on Prime XBT. So so I do low level margin, and when I've got time, I will occasionally sort of dabble in them, 10 to 20 times.
Okay. Eric wants to know where you can short BSV. I think Poloniex is one.
Poloniex, I think that's maybe it. Oh, OKX, I think maybe. So yeah.
Yeah.
Danny,
yes, leverage is gambling, maybe.
He should be like shorting like BSV, and then they'll make it go long.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm going to short it. I will like with a tight stop loss, because at any time the whales do come in and just shoot it through.
Yeah. Now, do us a favor. Once again, I'm going to have to say it. Smash those likes if you haven't already, people. We do this for free for you, so show us some love. Lisa, before we go, what is this 1,000 to 1 million I see you talking about, and how do I do this?
Before we do that, okay, hang on. I'm going to talk to people because I put this up on Twitter today. So wait, and I'm going to send out some love to everyone out there. So I asked this morning, I've got a TV pilot that I have in negotiations with a couple of production companies in Hollywood, which is really exciting. So one for Netflix, one company is looking at Netflix and the other company is looking at CBS as primetime sort of sitcom, sort of like How I Met Your Mother, sort of. It's kind of How I Met Your Mother, Sex and the City. It's comedy, sort of with that sort of romance to it, based in a law firm. And so we've got that Ally McBeal element to it. So thank you to everyone that has been buying my books today. You have pushed me up. So I was in the millions, and now I am 1,748 on the bestsellers rank. So keep buying, because this is getting noticed. I've had a couple of messages from producers saying, wow, you've got some huge support on this, and this is what I need to get this over the line and get this happening. So I've been working on this for about 5 years, and it's so close. So fingers crossed. Obviously, I've also got coin runners that I've been working on for nearly, I think 2 years now. So, and that's sort of so close to getting like a big announcement. We've got some negotiations happening in the background. So that's really exciting. So thank you guys. Love you for buying my books.
Awesome. I don't know why you didn't ever tokenize. I mean, you could maybe tokenize one of the TV series. Obviously, your film is very close to getting over the line, but
yeah. So I'm going to. I've got, this is my clean Binance account that I've opened today. So we can see it's got BTC jumped a little bit. So as I was moving money across, so I've got $1,019.96. So I'm going to be trading with you guys on Twitter, and I'm going to do 1,000 to $1 million. I'm going to attempt to do that, see how we go. It's going to be, you know, harder. It gets harder and harder as we get more and more money, because we need to split the trades, obviously. And so this is my aim for this. It should have been my New Year's resolution. It's a little bit late. It's sort of halfway through January. So
I asked you about 5 times on our New Year's Eve show as well. Here you go. You've got one.
So this is a spreadsheet that I've done to show everyone how this works. So we started $1,000. All we need to make is 3% a trade. So in crypto, that's incredibly easy. So our first trade, 1,030. If it's more, obviously we get to $1 million faster. So our next trade, we put in 1,030, 3% were 1,060, and so on. So we go down. So essentially, we're going to lose a trade or two along the way. That's a given. That happens. You know, sometimes the market goes against us. But if all going to plan, we're going to have about 300 to sort of 350-ish trades to get to $1 million. Obviously, as the amount grows, it gets harder and harder, and we probably, you know, you need to stick to your sort of larger cap sort of coins like Bitcoin and that sort of stuff. And you know, you've got big trades then.
Lisa, how much of this trading will be sort of leveraged trades on, you know, on Prime or Bybit with BTC or ETH, or is this purely
no leverage? None.
no leverage?
This is
so just spot trading alts primarily.
Alts and BTC as it gets higher. So once we get into these, you know, these bigger sort of amounts, we do need to move into the higher liquidity coins, which is like Ethereum, BTC, and that sort of stuff. So, yeah. So if I go back,
follow Lisa on Twitter, people, as I will be doing on the daily for this.
We'll see.
Dollars, $1,000.
Where we're at, and you know how we're going, and yeah, I've got a few people that I've done a trial with. I've got 5 people to $1 million so far. We saw one that that he did reach that mark on Twitter. A few of them didn't want to be like out there. I've got a couple of friends that I'm running through this with. One is at he started at $1,000. He's now at $4,500. I've got another account that I've been running that's at over 100,000. So
if people want to follow along here, just give us a bit more.
Yeah, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be buying and selling. I'll post a chart every day that I am looking at buying and selling at support regions. And, you know, I may make 10% in these charts, or I may get out after 3%. So, but yeah, so I'll be updating this weekly and letting everyone know on the show where we're at. So, awesome. Yeah.
I'll be following along every step of the way. So this is all just kicked off now, huh?
How many people we can get to this range. Obviously, you know, on Twitter, I have a stop loss video. So I also have how my charts are set up. There's a tweet there that tells you how the charts are set up, like support regions and buys and sells, where I would have my stop loss and where I'd move my stop loss. Being as this is 3%, they're not big moves. So we don't have to be in a trade for a long time. If there is a trade that is moving strongly, obviously I'll let the trade run a little bit. So But
Okay.
yeah, so this is my clean Binance account, just opened today, and you know, it's off we go.
Bring it on. Exciting times. Yep, I'd love to be involved in that every step
Yeah.
of the way. Having done these shows with you now, Lisa, for God, I don't know how long it's on, possibly a year maybe.
Yeah,
You've
so
made some damn good calls. You know, your charting of the bellwethers, so to speak, BTC and ETH has just been outstanding. Really has. So yes, I'm going to start listening to you a bit more on the altcoins, maybe.
I think so. It's like, think of how much profits you could have had you traded some of these charts. So
Well, I'm going to start this 1,000 to a million thing with you immediately.
yeah. So yeah, it's a clean Binance account. So it will be, you know, when we go through at the end, so people can see, you'll be able to see all the trades that I've done throughout. So it's specifically so that I can show that this is possible.
Yep. Okay. So before we go, what would you consider the coin of the week? One to have a super close look at. You know, I do my fundamental show. I've got one of those coming up tomorrow. We've actually got some really good projects that we're interviewing in the coming week. Of everything we looked at today, is there anything that really tickles your fancy?
Well, Reef.
More than everything else?
More than anything else is Reef. I love
Reef.
that one, and I think that one's going to be massive over the next coming week. So yeah, that's going to be my coin of the week this week.
Okay, excellent. Lisa, thank you so much. I know how unbelievably busy you are at the moment. Your film is edging closer by the day to getting over the line. Very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back here on Mondays live every week. So feel free to put some comments below the video of anything you want us to look at next week and any questions you've got, anything you're unsure of in this industry. We're here to help you. We do enjoy making this content for you.
Yes. So Henry, I just found out he's been chatting to me on Twitter, and I'm like, I think I know him. So he was in my Discord forever. So it's like, yes, you can follow me on Twitter on this $1,000 to $1 million. I've been talking about it for a little while. I'm going to do it and show people that it's possible to make a lot of money in cryptocurrency. So yeah. Let's do it.
It's a slowly, and trying to remove as much emotion as possible, people. Silly moves can wipe out a lot of hard work.
Don't do a Lisa on Saturday and trade while emotional. Just don't do that.
Awesome, Lisa. Thanks once again for your time, and thank you everyone for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe and like. It really does help us out. Let's Google know we're here. And yeah, as I say, any questions, put them below the video, and we'll try and address those on Twitter or on the show next Monday for you. Coming up this week, we're going to live AMA tomorrow. A couple of founders of some projects we've reviewed. Wednesday, I've got a economist coming on to look at the global sort of macro environment where crypto fits in there, but that show's probably going to be more traditional markets and how we see that playing out. It clearly has a major influence on how people are investing in Bitcoin at the moment. Bitcoin's not a bubble. Fiat's a bubble. I like Bitcoin. Fiat, no.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining.
Finish on that.
Smash the buttons. We've got 127. It's like, love you guys. Thank you so much for all